sometimes there'd be interference because they didn't have cables. It had to go by radio. And you'd be all set with your phone call and you'd go, don't distortion, you couldn't even get through. Anyway, we decided that we had to get into the house machine business. So we decided to go where do we go? We go to a company that's known for its precision. We went to Sweden. And we hooked up with a company called Husqvarna Sewing. Husqvarna made sewing machines, they made rifles, they made guns, they made a lot of things. So we got the exclusive for the Husqvarna sewing machine, and we gave it the name Viking because Husqvarna was a name that we felt would be very difficult to advertise, and so we got a name that we could advertise, and it represented a Scandinavian country, and Viking was a name that was known here in the United States, Viking sewing machine. We set up distributorships in Minneapolis and in Atlanta and all over, but it didn't go too well for the simple reason that the Japs were able to sell their products at such low prices, and the Swedes, which were a very highly industrialized country, could not compete with them. Eventually we had to give up the Viking sewing machine. In addition to that, the Japanese also were making precision parts, like the ones we were making in New Jersey. So after all the money that we had invested in blueprints and special machines, we had to scrap all that, and we had to bite the bullet and go to Japan and start to import our parts from there. And I must say that they did very, very good work. Not only parts, but needles and everything else. Now, I had a younger brother, unfortunately passed away at an early age, Joseph. We used to go to Japan to see these people, and when he was there, I think in early 1953 or 54, he saw a small transistor. The Japs were just starting to make small transistor radios. He comes back with a sample. He says, you know, maybe we want to get into this business. So we decided, well, maybe we'll try it out. And so we got into the transistor radio business, which was the big thing in those days. There were no TVs being made yet. And then we, I think we hooked up with Panasonic. We had the Panasonic line. And then other people got into the, other Japanese got into the business. There was Panasonic and Hitachi and a few others were also starting to make these little transistor radios. Then they started to make TVs and radio record players, and we got some of those also. And also, let me backtrack a little bit. While our business was growing, we set up branches in Chicago and in Los Angeles in order to make certain that our customers would get quick service. Instead of shipping everything from New York to Los Angeles, if we had a branch in Los Angeles and the merchandise was there, a man, say, in San Francisco or in San Diego would call up, he'd get his stuff overnight, rather than wait 5, 6, 7 days. So, another thing, I must tell you that when you have branches, you have to be very, very careful of stealing. You can put in all kinds of systems, but if there's a guy out to get you, he's going to figure out how to steal from you. In fact, the Talmud says, you know, when a mouse goes into a farmer's barn to steal the grain, don't blame the mouse. Blame the farmer for leaving the hole there for the mouse to get into. So that when you get into a business, you have to make certain that you have safeguards to make sure that nobody's going to put his hand into the cash register and start to steal from you. In fact, I had the same experience because in addition to the other branches of the business, I started 2 factories down in Tennessee. One of them was to make the cabinets that the house machines would go into, the furniture, like the desks and the consoles, you know, the furniture. We started that near Memphis. The other factory, the National Carrying Cases for machines, and also tables like these from Dustin sewing machines. Now in a plant, I started one plant with about 10,000 square feet that grew to about 180,000 square feet. And the other one, near Nashville, I started in a showroom that Ford dealer there had to go out of business. Business was bad, so I started that thing at 2,500 square feet. That expanded to about 80,000. I'm not telling you this to boast, but to tell you how we were building up the business. And we had trailers taking our merchandise all over, delivering directly to our distributors. And the plant down in Tennessee was run by a guy from Mississippi by the name of Howard Peters. I'll tell you, I think it's an amusing story. I was president of a day school called the Yeshiva Flatbush. I don't know if you ever heard of Yeshiva Flatbush. And at that time, you may not know about it, there were rides going on down south with integration with Martin Luther King and the March to Selma. Are you acquainted with any of that? You know anything about that, about the March to Selma and the big problems with bull connors and the dogs? You guys, I guess, weren't even born then. Anyway, I'm down in the plant in Tennessee, walking around with this fellow manager, looking at the inventory, and I get a call from the PA system. Mr. Paul, Rabbi Himmel calling you from Brooklyn. I get a call. Yes, Shalom, what is it? I said, oh, I'm having so much trouble with this fellow and that fellow. Don't worry, I'll be back Thursday night. 15 minutes later, another call. Mr. Paul, Mr. Solomon Goodman calling you from Brooklyn. What is it, Sol? Oh, I have trouble with the payroll, the teachers, and all that. Okay, don't worry. A couple more calls. So I go out for lunch with this guy, this manager. We're riding in silence for about 3 or 4 minutes. He says, Mr. Paul, you have a problem up north? I said, yes, I'm having a serious problem with the school I'm connected with. So this guy says to me, what are they trying to do? Integrate it? He's talking about the yeshiva, you know. Anyway, we found out later that this guy, Howard Peters, was stealing from us. I had set up a system with our accountants. We had work in process reports coming in every week and everything was checked. But when you have absentee ownership, you have to be very, very careful because when you're 1,000 miles away, you never know what the guy's figuring out how to steal from you. Well, eventually, my brother, I had an older brother, Manny, and we had 2 partners by then. My brother Manny was getting on in years, and he wasn't in too good health. We decided that we had to make a move. Either sell the business or sell the business to the public. And we decided to sell out our business. We sold our business to a firm in the New York Stock Exchange, and we got stock for our interest in the business. That's the way the story ends. And if you have any questions, I'd be very happy if I can to answer them. Anything you want to guess?
Which year did you sell?
What year? 1968.
And it's still going, I assume?
No, that business that bought us was taken over by another company whose name I don't remember. Called U.S. Industries. That was the name of the company. It was a conglomerate that bought our business. Yes.
And did you go into the business because you wanted to, or because you had to? Yeah.
I know. That's a good question. I did not go into the business because I really wanted to. I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor. And I had excellent marks. I was graduated cum laude. Did very well in chemistry and physics and all the other subjects necessary for medical school. However, in those days, a Jew from New York who had gone to a city college could not get into a medical school. There was very, very strict quotas, just like there was for engineering schools. If you were a Jew from New York or anywhere else, forget about it. You couldn't get in. I tried, but I couldn't make it. So I said, well, I'll go into my father's business. Today, it's such a different world. I don't know, you'll probably see this when you go to New York. It was like a dream world, and when I was a kid, for anybody to work for General Electric or for AT&T, I mean, forget about it. You just couldn't do it. Today, when you go down Wall Street,